So, wait till I just put you in the old holder. Episode 20! I've done 20 of these and there's no one here. That kills me. We'll just wait for someone to drop in, I guess. Hey, Arduino! How are you, mate? Have you enacted any of those changes on your site? So what we're doing now is just going to do some SEO audits. What typically happens, people just throw their URL, their domain name, into the chat. If you're coming in via the web, you can just tweet me the domain name, that's @Jimboot, and we'll have a look at it there. We've got, excuse me, usually these go for anywhere between 10 minutes to an hour, depending on how many people throw their sites into the ring. Because we've only got 3 people on, it'd be cool if you guys could share it out to your followers. That would be awesome. Thank you. I've been getting a lot of questions about the Penguin update. And this is the 20th one of these I've done in a row for 5 days a week. And it's been interesting. It's been a good exercise for me to do, to hear what people's problems are with SEO and what they need to worry about. But the big thing that's coming right now is a Google Penguin update. Now, in my weekly show last week, Google had not really announced, sort of had tweeted via various people that the Google Penguin update was coming, and it was going to be huge, quote unquote. They actually use the word huge. And it's going to be real time. So previously with Penguin, we've had to wait until a Penguin update comes along before we know whether the work that we've done in fixing the Penguin issues has worked. Well, that's no longer the case. It's going to be real time now. So you should see, if you fix all your bad backlinks, you should see rankings return real time. However, the day after I published that show, Google came out and said, "Well, we're not going to do the Google Penguin update before Christmas now," which is great, right? Because this is what Google typically does. They release an update around Christmas and they destroy a lot of businesses. Thanks, Arduino. I'll have a look. And we've seen it time and time again, different businesses get destroyed at Christmas time because Google puts out an update that, thanks for the hearts, Phil, that puts up an update at a business's most busiest time, which is crazy. All right, I'll come back and have a look, Arduino. So the fact that they're not releasing this Penguin update before Christmas is a good thing, but it's coming in January. So what you have to be aware of before then is just get all your disavow files done. Now, I've been getting a lot of questions from people about the disavow. How do I know if a backlink is spammy? Simple. If you wouldn't send your mother to the site, you wouldn't share the site, it's probably a spammy backlink. Now, there are a lot of scraping sites and those sorts of things out there that will, scrape information about your site and then put a backlink on your site. I would disavow those. You might have had someone doing negative SEO on you, disavow those. If you've ever had backlinking done by an SEO company, you should probably disavow those. Unless it's, a strategy that's been employed to guest post or something like that. I'm not that worried about guest posts and those sorts of things. What I'm more worried about is getting backlinks from crappy articles. They're the ones you're going to watch. Now, even though Google Penguin's going real time, we don't know exactly how long the lag time will be once you submit a disavow file to when Google says, it's okay now. Previously, it's taken months. We're in Melbourne, Nizami, in Australia. And this real-time thing, yeah, it's going to be great. But if you're doing if you've got an e-commerce business and you get hit by a penguin penalty, you might lose 48 hours worth of business. Now, if you're in e-commerce, that 48 hours might be a lot. Let's face it, in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the big shopping season, right up until I think it's about end of February, always used to be online for the Northern Hemisphere. So it's still a busy time of the year, so get those disavow files done. And let's go and have a look at Arduino's site. So Arduino Basics, let's just see if I've still got it in history. Arduino, yes, we have, cool. We'll go and have a look at the site. Now, once again, I think it's important that you get off blogspot.com.au because, so the URL I'm looking at today is arduinobasics.blogspot.com.au. We've still got that, okay, Arduino Basics is now a H1. I love that. Your date is a H2 on the homepage. Get rid of the H2, you don't need it. The reason I say that is even though you've got them in the right order, you're going from H1 to H2 to H3, which is the correct way to use a heading tag, the date on that's formatted as a H2 is in a much smaller font than the H3. So Google's going to ignore that pretty much because you're not using them as they're intended for document structure, you're using them for style essentially. But once again, and also I would say it looks like your H3 and your H4 are also the same font size as well. So you can use that H4, but make it a smaller font size. So it's better, definitely better. Yeah, or make your H3 bigger. If you get rid of that H2 around the date, your H3 should become the H2. Make that bigger, and then your H4s are logical then on that home page. Now let's have a look at some of the images. What have you done with the images? So I'm going to have a look at one of the images. So I'm opening up one of the images in a new tab, and we've got the one I'm looking at the moment, the file name, oh yeah, it's the same as the circuit board. So the circuit board says WIZ550IO, and that is also the name of the image. I like that because if someone's looking for one of those, hopefully Google will see your site as a resource for them because you've actually named it that. So you've got the keywords in the file name, so that's great. All right, let's go and have a look at the index. So what I'm doing now, I'm going into Google and I'm typing in Arduinobasics.blogspot.com.au, and what I want to see is, has the index changed terribly much since the last time we looked at this? Now there's 88 results here, and right, we've still got all these archive.html pages in the index and with the date in the URL. Let me just see what they are. The thing that concerns me about a post, and this is another reason, Blogspot's probably doing this. This is another reason I say get off Blogspot, because even though it's owned by Google, they're not very good at their own rules when it comes to correct formatting of sites and structure of sites. Yeah, it looks like that Blogspot will put a lot of those old posts at the archive.html. So if I go and have a look at, so I'm looking at the Arduino heart rate monitor at the moment, and I'm just going to grab a bit of the text. Arduino can make a heart rate monitor. That's cool. For those of you who don't know what Arduino is an open source electronics platform, I guess you'd say. Is that right, Arduino Basics? Let me know if I've got that wrong. So let me have a look here. So we'll go for, I'm just taking a couple of sentences off that page. Yeah, so we've got duplication. So Google, in its infinite wisdom, who owns Blogspot, is going and indexing your blog post, and in this case that blog post would be available at 2015 Arduino-heart-rate-monitor.html, right? That's where the original post is. By the way, feel free to share this link out at the moment, because if you want a domain reviewed or you want the site ordered, then throw it in here and we'll get to it. So you've got that original post which Google has indexed, and then Blogspot is storing that same post at this archive.html file. So you've got duplication, and it's indexing both. So yeah, Blogspot is a bit of a basket case, I'm afraid, for that. But that homepage, you're nearly there with the heading tags. I didn't check the page title. Let me have a look at that. Arduino Basic. So if I have a look at the heart rate monitor page and just have a look at the page title, it is telling me that right, yeah, so the best way to get rid of them is to actually see if you can add a no index tag on those archive.html pages. Because you've got a lot of them, it'll take a little while for Google to... So when you say, did you block them in Search Console using robots.txt, or did you... because if you do it in robots.txt, it's not the cleanest way to do it. And I think at some level inside Google, they will still be there in the calculation, even though they're blocked by robots.txt. Because there's a historical block URL in Search Console. Yeah, that's probably with robots.txt. So you can temporarily hide URLs, which is possibly what you're talking about, under the remove URL tool, which is now called the temporarily hide URL tool. So yes, you can do that, but Google will come back and index them at some point when it finds them again, unless the no index tag is on them. So I don't know how you can do that in Blogspot, but certainly what I would do after the no indexing is what you've done, which is the temporarily hide URLs in Google Search Console. Hopefully that was helpful. The page title is... Let me have a look. Just Arduino Basics, I think. No. No, you can't do that within a body of text. To add the no index tag, it has to be in the head section of the page. So... you can't really even do it at a template level either. It has to be done at the individual page level. You could do some, well, I don't know if you could do some fancy scripting with Blogspot, because I haven't used it for 10 years. So get off Blogspot. Get a WordPress install. You know, get onto Freelancer or one of those, and get someone to set up a quick WordPress install for you, and get a domain name. I'm just going to go check some domain names for you. It's alright, I'm not going to go and register them and sell them back to you at a premium price. I'm not that guy anymore. Now, let's go and have a look at terminals. So what I'm going to do is, if you're going to register a domain name, I mean, depending on where your audience is, and I'm assuming it's global, I would obviously go for .com. A lot of people will tell you that two-word domains are no longer available. You know, they've all been bought. That's not true. So for Bloggers SEO, for instance, I got bloggersseo.com, and I got it for $12, which is pretty cool. So I'm guessing all the great ones. Let's have a look. I'll DM you a domain if I find one. Oh, man! Go and register it now. It'll be $12. I'm serious. Just go and register it. before someone else does. Because if you use the same name, you're getting your keywords in the domain name, right? And that always helps. Google from time to time will turn the volume down on that signal, but right now it's still working. So, and it is what you do, so go and register it. Any other domain names we can have a look at? So quiet in here, too quiet. Right, we've got dead air right now. No, you're welcome. But yeah, get onto Crazy Domains on one of those. $12 it should be. Probably less actually for a .com now. Probably get them for just a few dollars. But I would start that transfer. And if you're going to do a site migration like this, which is you need to do a change of address as well. So when you're moving from, say, a hosted domain like arduinobasics.blogspot.com.au to, say, mynewdomainname.com, you need to do a change of address in the Google search via the Google Search Console. So just Google change of address and you'll see that. In addition to that, you need to 301 all the old Blogspot URLs. Now I don't know whether you can do that at Blogspot. I don't know whether you can 301 your whole domain to the new site, but that is part of the criteria of using the change of address tool inside Google Search Console. But it's certainly something you have to do. But I think you're going to have so much more joy moving to that new domain and getting off Blogspot than staying on it, regardless of the issues that you might have during the transfer. Longer term, it's the correct move, so I would definitely do that. And there's plenty of domain names out there for you. So if you've got a website you want reviewed, you can just drop it in the chat here. If you're not using the Periscope app, you can just tweet me at Jimboot and I will grab your URL off the tweet. So far there's nothing come through. I might do another one, which is one that we didn't get to yesterday, which is a Melbourne Greek band. So this Melbourne Greek band, and I'm doing it because one of the guys here, another Jim in fact, he's got a mate who has a Melbourne Greek band, and he got the taste of SEO. He's in sales, and he got the taste of SEO. He was helping him SEO his site, and he got him onto the front page of Google. He was pretty excited. So what I'm doing, I'm just typing in Melbourne Greek band just to see where they're ranking today. And it's Greek band Melbourne is what we're looking for. So let's have a look. Greek band Melbourne. So what I'm doing is I'm typing in the key phrase, which is Greek band Melbourne. And it is today number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's in Melbourne, and previously, before our national sales manager here gave him a little bit of advice, he was on page 3. So that's a nice jump overnight for him, but we can do a lot more than that. So at the moment, the page that's ranking is the About page. It's not the home page. And I often get questions about that. I often get questions about, why is that page ranking and not the other page? It's like, just say thank you. Seriously. Don't worry about that your landing page isn't number 1 and some other page is number 1. Just say thank you and work out how you're going to get that traffic from that page that's ranking to whatever your call to action is. Right now, though, the reason why this site's band page is ranking is because it's far more authoritative for the phrase Greek band Melbourne. So the site is, I'm not even going to try to do the Greek accent, but it's Anagenisi. and apparently there's a in there somewhere, which I can't do without obviously spitting on the lens, so I'm not going to do that. anagnnnisi.com.au, and the about page on that site is comprehensive. It talks about all the musicians, the instruments they play, their names. So therefore, and the homepage doesn't have any of that information. So Google's seeing that page and going, well, this is the most authoritative page for that phrase. When I go into a crawl of the site with Screaming Frog, and Screaming Frog is probably the best crawler out there for SEO purposes, I'm seeing a lot of page title, essentially duplication. So, for instance, the homepage is Greek band Melbourne, Greek wedding bands, and then every other page is Melbourne Greek band services. Or sorry, Melbourne Greek band audio, Melbourne Greek band photo, Melbourne Greek band videos, Melbourne Greek band contact. So that's a bit repetitive, and then at the end of it, the end of that page title, we have got, if I just take one at random, so for instance, this page title here, right, on the services page, is Melbourne Greek band hyphen services pipe, band name, hyphen Greek band Melbourne pipe, Greek wedding bands pipe, and a Genesi. So I think what his mate's done is he's taken the advice, but it's gone across every page of the site, because I forget what CMS it is, some weird CMS. It's one of these roll your own ones. It's not. Oh, it's Squarespace. That's right. So he may have trouble. He may have trouble on Squarespace doing some of these changes. But essentially, what he's done is he's taken that homepage title, and that homepage title is now in every title of the site, plus the original page title that was there. So he needs to split that up and just have one or the other, not both of them. Anyway, hopefully that was helpful. That was episode 20 done and dusted, and we'll see you tomorrow. By the way, got the weekly show coming up this afternoon. If you want to see the weekly show, you just need to subscribe to Jim Boot on YouTube. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.